Right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to yet another episode of African Flavor with myself, Anisa Mazimpaka. So today we are going to be looking at two very important issues, and they obviously all have to do with COVID because that's where we find ourselves in nowadays. It's become our new reality. But today we'll be focusing on one, the Black Lives Matter that we've all seen take to our hashtags, the streets of, I was going to say New York City, but it's the United States and other countries. The second segment, we will be talking to our high school learners who, of course, some resumed schools. We just want to get their perspective, and that would be coming up in the second segment called The Learner's Voice. Now, we will be beginning quite fast. We will be moving on to the Black Lives Matter. Now, as we know, the Black Lives Matter movement was established in 2013, right? And our recent days saw protesters from across the United States of America take to the streets, obviously, to protest, one, the death of George Floyd at the hands of a police, demanding justice, not just for him, but all other Black people who have suffered the same fate, and of course, demanding justice for Black people in general. Now, our first guest, we will be talking to someone called Ujiojo Uzoma, who is a human rights activist in the United States. I'll just read you her bio before we get her into studio. She's a community organizer with over 17 years of experience building power in disenfranchised communities, and has worked on issues that include economic justice, educational equality, racial justice, and most recently, building economic and political power amongst African immigrants in New York City. She herself was a 2017 Immigrant Civic Leader Fellow with a Coro New York, and continues to remain active in various movements throughout New York City. And she is, of course, a member of the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, if we can get her in studio, just for her to give us a look as to what is happening on the ground in the United States and with regards to the Black Lives Matter protests that have taken all across the United States. Right, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. I do apologize once again. I think we're just going to skip to listening to the learner's voice. We seem to have a bit of technicalities with the people from the United States, or I can just get a bit of clarity. Sorry. Right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are back. Let's get straight into it because I do acknowledge that we are running really behind schedule. So let's just get Brother Al Hajj in studio with us. And of course, he is a renowned activist for human rights. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome to African Flavor. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Al Hajj. Can you hear me? Okay, I think we're having a bit of a problem with Brother Al Hajj. Seems like he cannot hear me. But essentially, what we wanted to speak about was the issue of Black Lives Matter. And like I had said earlier on, these are protests that have taken to the streets of the whole of the United States, and obviously all 50 states have now been covered. The protests are approaching a good 10 days now, with the killing of George Floyd that sparked these protests. And we're seeing people from all different walks of life and from all races joining this protest to say that Black Lives Matter. Remember that this Black Lives Matter movement is not just about the murder of George Floyd. It is about the Black lives and the Black bodies. And it was a movement that was started in the United States of America that spoke to police brutality on or towards Black people. But of course, in essence, the general view is the treatment of Black people, and people are sick and tired of such treatment. And of course, here back home, we have been having a number of debates that say that why are we going on about Black Lives Matter in the United States and leaving our problems that are here in South Africa? And that is not the case. The case is that Black Lives Matter each and everywhere. And this is quite evident as we've seen the protests have taken to countries like France, countries like the United Kingdom. We have Brother Al Hajj back. Can you hear me, Brother Al Hajj? Okay, we're just gonna try and wait on Brother Al Hajj. He seems to. Okay, I think he's still having. Yeah. So, like I was saying, these protests have sparked quite a number of debates. From things like people saying all lives matter. Guys, this is not the time to bring up a hashtag like all lives matter. And a good analogy that was used for those people who keep saying that all lives matter in a Black Lives Matter protest. It's an analogy of, let's say, for example, you lose a relative, right? And you're speaking at a funeral and you're talking about how much this person has contributed either to society or how much of a good person this was, or speaking about his or her life in general. And someone comes in and storms in and be like, but my son, daughter, relative was also like that. You don't do that. And that is the same with Black Lives Matter. The common analogy that's used is the fact that we do acknowledge that, yes, all lives matter, but right now it is about Black bodies that are currently facing all sorts of discrimination. The analogy of houses being on fire, and you like, but all houses matter, but there's one house that's on fire, so which one should be assisted, right. Let's just see if I can get to the people in studio. If we can get, I don't think we're going to get Brother Al Hajj. It seems like we do have some problems connecting to the United States, and I hope we do resolve that. But let's just see if we can get the high school learners with us in studio to talk to us about their experience with the COVID virus and schools reopening. Okay, can we get the high school learners with us in studio, perhaps?
Hello.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you?
I am good. Can you just give us a brief introduction about yourself and which school you're from?
I'm Clement Molobela. I'm 17 years old and I am from the Batuto Secondary School situated in Denelton in Limpopo.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for joining us. I wanted, which grade did you say you're in?
In grade 12.
In grade 12, so you are a matriculant, right? So the
Yeah.
Department of Basic Education mentioned that grade 12 learners are supposed to be going back to class. Has your school been going back? What's happening with your school? Can you just give us an update on that?
Last year was under deep cleaning and sanitization, and I also think that they are ready to open. They're just waiting for the government to give them the instruction whether they should open or not.
Okay, so you haven't been going to school, that means, right? Just take me through how the coronavirus has actually affected your matric year.
Can you please repeat the
I'm
question
saying,
again?
can you take us through how the coronavirus has affected your matric year and everything that you looked forward to?
Oh, the COVID-19 has really affected my matric because I was looking forward into writing my June examinations
Yeah.
and I was already prepared. But right now, it's just I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should be ready. I don't know when I'm going to write the exams. I'm just clueless right now. So it has really
Yeah.
affected me in a bad way.
Okay, and have you been studying or trying to catch up in any ways? Has the school been sending you guys any communique with regards to, preparing for when schools open? Do you guys have that access? Or is there some stuff that they forward to you that you need to do over the internet? Can you tell me about that?
Our teachers, some of our teachers did the WhatsApp group chats and they were conducting the lessons there. And with some of the subjects, I was just checking through the internet, watching some of the educational channels on TV and also on YouTube.
And how has that, just before we welcome Mbali with us, how has moving things online affected you and how you would normally? Okay, I think we just lost Clement there. Hi, Mbali, and welcome to African Flavor. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Anisa. It's a pleasure.
So I was talking to Clement, and he was giving us his view and telling us how the coronavirus has affected his matric year. Can you tell us, actually, can you introduce us, tell us who Mbali is, and just tell me how the coronavirus has actually impacted your schooling?
Okay, as you've said, Mbali, Shabangu. Well, I'm a grade 11 learner at Makosana. The question was?
So I wanted to know how COVID has affected your grade 11.
Okay. It has affected it badly because grade 11 is before matric. So most of the work that is done in matric is done in grade 11. So we really needed time to get to go through those things and learn them because in grade 12, it's like doing revision of what you did in grade 11.
Definitely. Definitely. So I don't know, with the current situation, do you think you are going to finish your grade 11 this year in 2020? I was just about to say 2012. Do you see yourself finishing grade 11 this year? And how does it make you feel, the fact that, I mean, obviously you're looking forward to being a matriculant in 2021. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I don't really think we are going to finish grade 11 because there's been a delay on reopening of schools.
Yeah.
And time is not on our side. And yes, we're looking forward to be 2021 matriculants. So with the things that we had to learn during the course of the year, we have already missed out on a term. So we won't be having enough time to catch up and cover work of the whole term 2. So I don't think we have time to finish our grade 11.
And I cannot imagine how anxious that makes you feel, not knowing what's happening next. How do you feel about the government saying that grade 7s and grade 12 learners should head back to school in the middle of the pandemic, wanting to obviously catch up with the academic year? How does that make you feel? Do you think it's the right decision?
I think it's the right decision, and I also think it's the wrong one. First, the reason why I think it's the right decision is because first grade 7, they are on their way out to go to high school. So there's no way they can get to high school without their previous marks of the previous years. Even if they were to get promoted, they can't be promoted to go to high school. Grade 12, they need to go to varsity. They had their lives planned by this time we should be in this varsity or this institution doing such things. But it's wrong because it's not fair on the rest of us. Having to repeat a grade, no, we were not planning that. So it's not fair on the rest of us, grade 6 downwards, grade 11 till to grade 8. What would happen if grade 7s get promoted and go to grade 8? The grade 8s go to grade 9. What happens? So it's wrong because of that.
Okay, no, you do have a point there. If government were to say that they're opening the doors for the grade 11s as well, is it a decision that is it something you'd be looking forward to, or you'd prefer to wait for the COVID virus to die down a bit?
If we were to wait for the COVID to die.
It would die down anytime soon, yes?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know, but if it were to die anytime soon, I would be looking forward to go back to school.
Yeah.
To finish my grade 11 and do my matric next year, just as I imagined myself doing.
And planning your life around your matric year, I can imagine. I don't know, there's some schools that have taken their learning online, and I'm not sure if your school is one of those schools, and maybe not online per se, but teachers are sending their learners things that they should be doing, to catch up with the academic year. Has your school been doing that for you
guys? We do have group chats where we receive our schoolwork.
Okay.
But not all of us have data. Not all of us have access to WhatsApp. Not all of us have smartphones. And with this thing of using WhatsApp, you don't know who does the work and who doesn't do the work. You don't know who submits the work and who doesn't. Though there is e-school, not all of us have access to the internet, and some of us, as I've said, we don't have smartphones to use. So it doesn't really work. And at my school, not all the subjects have group chats where we can access to our schoolwork. So we only forward with some of the subjects, and some of them we haven't done them at all since the pandemic happened.
No, I do understand, and I cannot imagine what you're going through. Mbali, we're going to have you back just in a while. I think we're just going to take a short break. And when we come back, we will be speaking to other learners and how the COVID has impacted them, and what they think about going back to school, because we do have matriculants with us. We have grade 11s, and as you've just heard what Clement said and Mbali, speaking about how the coronavirus has actually impacted their schooling. And obviously this comes after the announcement by the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Mutsecha, who said that schools should actually be open. I think we're just going to take a break, and we'll be with you shortly. Right. Welcome back. And of course, we were talking to Mbali, Shabangu, and Clement, who was telling us about their school and how schooling has been affected by the COVID virus. Let's just welcome two more learners that we have with us to speak to us on their experiences. Right. Good evening, Alpheus, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. How are you?
I'm fine, and it's Eliphus, not Alpheus. Ne?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's Eliphus, not Alpheus.
Eliphus. Okay, my apologies there. Can you just begin by telling us which school you go to and which grade you're in?
I attended Manuti Muduan, and I'm doing grade 12.
You're doing grade 12. Okay, so what is your take on what the Minister of Basic Education said about grade 12 learners having to return to school, and has your school started with schooling?
I beg your pardon?
How do you feel about what the Minister of Basic Education had said about grade 12s and grade 7s returning to school?
Actually, I'm very much excited because I've been waiting for this moment. It's been a long since we've attended a class, and I've been reading, and there are some problems there and there when I'm reading.
And when are you expected to return to class?
I think Monday, yeah.
Monday. And has your school communicated anything about being ready to open?
Yeah, I've saw a video showing cleaning the school. Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready to head back to school in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're ready?
Yeah.
Does it not make you scared that you might contract the coronavirus, or saving your matric year is definitely something that you want to do, right?
Yeah, I don't, and I'll be safe. I'll be playing safe.
You will be safe.
Yeah, I'll be wearing my mask.
How do you? Yeah.
I'll be wearing my mask and social distancing.
Definitely. That is what we will be calling the new normal. I mean, wearing your mask to school. So you're prepared to wear your mask to school from 8 a.m. In the morning, just all in the name of obviously, keeping safe and finishing your curriculum. So just tell me something. How do you feel? Do you think the government made the right decision to allow matriculants and grade 7s back into high school, despite the fact that, there might be some risks?
Yeah, they did. Like I said, we have some problems when we are reading on our own, and those problems need a teacher to explain them to us, make them to be simpler to us. You understand? Put them in the simplest way. So we need to get to class again.
So have your teachers been able to explain these problems that you have? I mean, I would assume that that's probably why you want to go back to school, so that they're able to explain this properly. But let's just go back to how the COVID virus has impacted you as an individual, and how has the COVID been for you, just generally?
It's been hectic, and yeah, I've been hectic, and I tried to read, but I don't understand some concept.
No, I can imagine. Thank you for joining us. I think we'll just take Lethabo, but thank you so much for joining us and giving us your perspective. And of course, I wish you all the best. We have Lethabo with us. Good evening, Lethabo, and thank you so much for joining me this evening. Are you able to hear me, Lethabo? Okay, we seem to be having a bit of technicalities with Lethabo there. But of course, we spoke to grade 11 and 12 learners from across, and they telling us, from those who are excited to be going back to school and those who have concerns about the coronavirus and, of course, contracting the virus whilst in school. But they've all emphasized how important it is for them to want to save their academic year because, as one of the learners did mention, there would be a backlog if you allow one stream to, continue with their academic year. You would have a backlog, and she actually stated that it would be unfair to have one set progress whilst the other still needs to be set back. But of course, that is the reality that learners from across the country and obviously across the globe find themselves in, where it's between literally life and death, where it's between saving the academic year and obviously people being afraid to contract the virus. And I don't think there's really a one shoe fits all or a perfect formula per se towards dealing with this. I do apologize. We were supposed to get the people from the Black Lives Matter, and it is a discussion that I also look forward to, but it seems like there are a bit of technicalities connecting to the people in the United States, but we will carry on following up with this. And of course, that is the Black Lives Matter. Like I said, I look forward to this conversation, and I think it's a conversation that we all have to have in our spaces, whether it's on social media, within our houses, within our own community. It's a conversation that we have to have, and of course, we will try to, get these people back. And if anyone wants to speak about Black Lives Matter on a local scale, feel free to get in touch with me or get in touch with Salam Media, and we will definitely organize that. But from myself, I think it's just come to the end of yet another episode of African Flava. And Shukra so much, and thank you for tuning in. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.